Good evening, everybody. My name is Linda Sutton, and I'm with the Ely branch of the American Association of University Women. And along with the Ely Rotary Club, we want to welcome you to to tonight's School Board Candidate Forum. Although we would, of course, all prefer to be in the VCC auditorium with a live audience, that's not what we've got tonight. So we're really grateful for the candidates being spread out all over Ely, and our command post is here in the Yugoslav building at the with the lanes having allowed us to use a wonderful space here where we can be socially distant. So tonight we're going to hear from the 4 candidates who are vying for the 3 school board positions for the Ely School Board, and those people are Rachel Brophy, Holly Coombe, Tom Mirza, and Darren Visser, and they are all joining us virtually from various locations. We'll be getting to some questions that have been prepared by AAUW and Rotary, and we want the evening to provide you with the information that you need to make an informed choice. And we're doing this a little earlier than we might normally in the fall because of early voting. So many people will be voting absentee, and some have already started voting early in person. So thank you for being here a little bit sooner than we might normally be. Now, we do know that the school board is not really involved in day-to-day operations in the schools. So hopefully our questions have reflected that. And we're going to start out in going in alphabetical order, having each of you candidates introduce yourselves to us, and you have 3 minutes to do that. Don't need to use the whole thing if you don't want to, but we do have some timers here. We have Angela Campbell from Rotary, we have Carolyn Owens from AAUW, and when you get to 1 minute left, you will see a 60-second countdown, and we have a 30-second countdown if you're getting close to running out of time, and then we'll tell you to stop. But so we'll be doing that throughout the evening. But the first thing will be the 3-minute introduction. And the one thing we have to remember, our Zoom rule, which is the one I forgot already, was mute yourself if you're not talking, unmute yourself if you're talking. So Rachel, we are going to start with you. You've got 3 minutes to tell us all about you.
Okay, can everybody hear me? Yes? Okay, great. Well, my name's Rachel Brophy, and my family and I, my husband and my 2 daughters, Molly and Katie, moved up to the Ely area in 2016 from Sioux City, Iowa. We moved up here because we love nature and the water and the wilderness and everything. And I actually grew up in a small town in southwestern Minnesota, and really wanted to raise my daughters in a small town like I grew up in, only with better lakes. So we moved up, and then very shortly after we moved up, I came upon an opportunity which matched some of my experience. I went to college at University of Minnesota Duluth and got a degree in teaching English, and did various things over the years, including some subbing and teaching in various places. And then when I moved up here, Mesabi East actually had an opening, and I ended up going and teaching for Mesabi East for 3 years. I'm now working at the Ely Chamber of Commerce, and my girls are going to school here in Ely, and we're really happy to have everybody together in Ely, because that was our original plan, was to move to Ely to be here, and we love it, and I'm looking forward to possibly having the opportunity to contribute to my new home. So anyway, that's it, I guess. Thank you.
Thanks, Rachel. And Holly, next in alphabetical order, we'll hear from Holly Coombe.
Thank you. Can everybody hear me? Okay, I see some nods. I'm Holly Hartshorn Coombe. I'm a 3rd generation Ely girl. I graduated from Ely High School in 1995, and I moved to Bemidji at that time and attended Bemidji State University. And I graduated in May of 2000 with a bachelor's degree in social studies and an emphasis in history. After that, I moved to the metro area where I worked as a preschool teacher for Anoka County Head Start, the third largest Head Start program in the state. I was there as the lead teacher and a center supervisor in a classroom in a full day, full year classroom. And what that meant is I had 18 students, ages 3 to 5, that attended 6.5 hours a day, 5 days a week, 11 months a year. I had a very diverse classroom. Almost half my classes in the 4 or 5 years I was there were either students of immigrants or immigrants themselves. I had a lot of children with learning disabilities or living with other disabilities. I had some students with Down syndrome or living with autism. And I was there for a few years, and then after my first son was born, I moved back to Ely. I wanted to be closer to my family. My parents were here, my grandma, my siblings, so I wanted to come back and give my kids the same upbringing I had. So now I have 3 children. Jacob is in 11th grade. He's 16. Robert is in 9th grade. He's 14. And my daughter Macy is 6, and she's in 1st grade. So I have children in both schools. And it's kind of fun because a lot of the staff I know in various different ways besides just through my kids. A few of the teachers were there when I was. A few of the staff members were students when I was. So I feel very connected to the school. I'm a talker, by the way. I see my time coming up. But I do want to mention that I've also been part of the Touchdown Club the last couple of years. I'm no longer part of it, but I was part of the group that raised $15,000 to help with the scoreboard that's going up right now. Actually, it's almost done, I believe. I've been very busy with the Ely Baseball Association, the summer baseball program on the big field, and other volunteer opportunities through my time here. Thanks.
Thank you, Holly. And Tom Omerza, we'd like to hear from you now.
Right, we're good. Volume good. Small town guy myself, similar to what Rachel and Holly are saying. Grew up small town, ended up in the Twin Cities, and quickly realized I wanted to move back to small town. So thankfully, opportunity arose. I ended up ended up in Ely, my parents' home, Ely and Babbitt, and have been fortunate enough to work with a business that allows me to support my family here in Ely. I've had 3 kids through the system so far, and 1 currently in high school. I have really enjoyed the experience they've had with the teachers, the coaches, the administration. I've never regretted moving to Ely to have my kids grow up in an atmosphere, a very good atmosphere with caring teachers, being able to participate in the sports and develop good friendships. So because of that, I've been involved a bit with the school and feel very good about what's happening with the school. I've spent going on 4 years here with the school board. Sad to see the 2 that are incumbents not coming back because they've lent a lot to the board. Smart, inquisitive, insightful, thoughtful people, but they're moving on, and it's great to see 4 of us here that want to be on the board and want to contribute to what's going on at the school. So I'm excited to see what happens, and I'm hoping to continue on with what we've done so far in these last 4 years. We've got a good group there. We've got a lot of knowledge with some of the longer time school board members, and some new faces too. So, and obviously that'll happen again here in the coming months. So excited to hopefully keep moving forward and continue contributing to the school and the community.
Thanks, Tom. And now we'd like to hear from Darren Visser.
Yeah, my name is Darren Visser. First, I wanted to say thank you to Tom, Paul, and Rachel for joining me on the ballot here. It's nice to see it's a tough position that a lot of people shy away from, but it's nice to see the four quality people step up to the plate here and really want to help their community. It's nice to see. So thank you to those three people as well. As the other three, I grew up in central Minnesota in a small town, graduated with 32 kids in my class. Went to River Falls, Wisconsin, got my degree in elementary education and coaching. And what brought me to Ely was a job. I got hired here in 1997 and taught and coached in the school district for 22 years and coached various levels of different sports, also served on the union and negotiations and different things like that, several committees within our school. I started knowing PB's portable toilets here several years ago, and now recently I've made big changes where I actually sold the business, but now I'm working for Lucky Boy Services as their manager, and they purchased my portable toilet company as well. But from that, with a lot of different viewpoints, I guess is what I would say, a lot of different experiences. I have three daughters, all in school still. Andy will be a junior this year. Sarah's in 8th grade, or in 9th grade, various levels of it already, and he comes in 6th grade. So it's one of those that I felt the importance to continue to contribute to the school, even though I'm not teaching there and I'm coaching a very limited role with the track team now. But I just feel it's so vitally important to maintain and keep going this quality education that we have here in Ely. Ely has put out a lot of phenomenal people over the years, and it is important for us to keep that going. And I would just like the opportunity to try and help us in a different role than I've been in before and do it on the school board.
Thanks, Darren. I think we can get, I think we
Toilet company as well.
everything
A lot
you're
of things, I guess is what I was saying, a lot of different experiences. I have three daughters, all in school still. Andy will be a junior this year. Yeah, you're cutting in and out on me some too. Sorry, I felt the importance to continue to contribute.
I think it's just the nature of what we've got, but I think we're getting the most of what you're saying. So that would be happening to me if I were at my house too. So I think hang in there, it's gonna be okay.
Yep.
We're gonna be going into the question and answer period here in just a moment. So I wanna tell kind of the ground rules of that. We have from Rotary, tonight I'm going to be handing this over to Jeff Sundell from Rotary and Kay Vandervoort from AAUW.
Yeah, you're cutting in and out.
We're cutting out too? Well, we're gonna hang in there and do our best. So those two will be asking the questions. We're gonna go again in alphabetical order, and the candidate will have 1.5 minutes to answer their question. When that 1.5 minutes is up, the other three of you will be able to comment for 30 seconds on that question. At the conclusion of, let's see, and if someone does go off in another direction and doesn't answer the question, we'll try to reel you back in, but I'm sure that's not going to happen. So again, we'll have our timekeepers holding up the cards. Primarily, it'll be the 30-second card.
Various levels of different sports.
Oh, Tom and Darren, can you both mute Tom and Darren now? can you put yourselves on mute? There we go. Perfect. So yeah, let me just reiterate that. The candidate will have 1.5 minutes to answer, and then each of the other candidates will have 30 seconds to comment. So I am now going to turn this over to Kay and Jeff for the questions.
Our first question is for Rachel Brophy. What role do you feel the school board should have in determining curriculum?
Well, obviously, having never served on the school board, I've got a lot to learn. But I know that as a school board member, primarily my job is going to be helping to set policy. And I trust our faculty to really look at what they need for curriculum. They know the students, they're on the front lines. And I believe that they should be the ones really determining what's going to work, what has worked in the past, and what they should continue with, what they should discontinue with. As a school board member, I look forward to having the opportunity to contribute my opinion, but ultimately I leave the frontline things like curriculum up to the teachers, because they're the ones in the classroom with the students handling that sort of thing. And you know, I trust our teachers.
All right, thank you. And Holly, you have 30 seconds if you'd like to follow up on that question.
Sure, thank you. And I agree with Rachel. You know, the teachers are the ones in the classroom. The administrative staff, they're the ones dealing with the teachers and the parents and the different things that go on in the school on a day-to-day basis. Now, while the school board provides oversight, of course, I don't feel it's the school board's job to micromanage. I believe we leave that important work to the people who are currently doing that important work. And curriculum decisions, I think, are best, by teachers and administrative staff, such as the principals, superintendent if needed. And, they're the ones that are there doing it. So I'm agreeing with Rachel that, again, while the school board may provide approval or opinion,
Okay,
I believe it's.
time's up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tom Omerza, did you have comments? You need to unmute. Tom, you need to unmute.
Yeah, I'm using my daughter's laptop, so. Very similar response. The administration, the teachers know what they're doing. They're there all the time. Mr. Visser, I think, would agree that those that are working with the kids know what works best, subjects, methods. So certainly a lot of that is the bulk of that is in their hands to come up with what's best given the situation and the group of kids they have.
Okay, and Darren Visser. Darren, you need to unmute. If you scroll along the bottom, you'll find it.
It should be in the bottom left-hand corner, Darren.
Are we good?
What role does the school board have?
Yes. So, having been through the process many times myself, I agree with the other three. There's a very lengthy process that goes, and our teachers and administration are on the current information and everything that's working and best practices of today. So it isn't the school board's position to dictate what curriculum goes toward the teachers. We've hired those teachers and administration, they're professionals at what they do, and we have to allow them to do their job.
Okay, thank you. The next question goes to Holly. What do you believe is the appropriate working relationship between the superintendent and the school board? You have a minute and a half.
Thank you. I think it's appropriate to be available to each other, to be able to, talk about things going on. I don't feel the school board is there to micromanage every step or to be part. I apologize. There's a big truck going by. It's that loud. I don't believe it's the school board's role to micromanage every step of the school day, but I think it's important to maybe provide advice or opinions or, decide, is this something the whole board should take a look at? We hire quality staff. We have for a while, and I feel Mr. Erie is doing a terrific job. And I feel our, other administrative staff will as well. But I think it's important to be available, provide opinion, and just support the school and what they're doing, including the superintendent and other staff.
Thank you, Holly. And for a 30-second follow-up, we go first to Tom.
It's an important role that the communication between superintendent and school board is important. You've got a lot of experience, a lot of depth and knowledge, both with the superintendent and the school board. So the communication has to be there because the school board is responsible for making decisions. So if there's not effective communication, then ineffective decisions are made. So I think all superintendents are trained to be well aware of that.
Okay, thank you, Tom. And Darren, you have an opportunity now to follow up. You must unmute in order to follow up.
Can you please repeat the question? You were broke on when you said the question the first time, so I didn't hear it.
Sure, I'd be happy to. What do you believe is the appropriate working relationship between the superintendent and the school board?
It's extremely important to have great communication. It is one of those that we have to work as a team. It has to be working together, not working against each other, but also the aspect of being educated at all things. There's concerns that come up, being able to know that there's open communication all the way around, and that not being educated, we can address those issues in a proper and appropriate manner. So key to me, and also the aspect, there's concerns that come up and maintain that going, and we'll see great things happen.
Thank you. And Rachel, to you. You're still muted.
Okay, did I get it? Okay. It's incredibly important for the superintendent and the school board to be able to communicate effectively. The superintendent is oftentimes the mouthpiece for the school overall. I have the unique position of actually knowing Mr. Erie. He was my principal. So I know that it's a neat opportunity to be able to communicate with someone who I respect highly and know that he's here doing an incredible job in an incredibly trying situation that none of us could have planned on. And going forward, we need that sort of leadership. And with a superintendent capable as Mr. Erie is, I feel confident that our school board can get behind him and our faculty and go
Thank you.
forward.
Thank you. Kay, over to you.
Our next question is for Tom Amerza. If budget had to be significantly reduced, where would you look to make those? You have a minute and a half.
As a school board member, I would not be one of the first ones that would start digging into that. That's tasked to the superintendent, the principals, who are then communicating with their reports, the teachers, the staff. Communication is big here. You need to everybody, all the unions, the staff, administration, they need to know what's happening, whether there be a surplus of money or a deficit of money. If cuts need to be done, then it's communicating that and tasking the people in charge to figure out what they're doing, what they could be doing better, more efficiently, more cost effectively. Having someone in charge of that, whether it be the principals or the superintendent, and pooling that together and coming up with what would work best to get to where we need to be with if we need to reduce the budget, keeping an eye on making sure that there's as little impact to the kids as possible with their education and extracurriculars.
Thank you, Tom. And for our 30-second follow-ups, we'll go first to Darren.
Yeah, and again, I think it's the key ingredient here, getting everybody involved. Getting everybody to really take a look at it, seeing what we can do to keep the negative impact a very minimal cost. And sometimes there's the tightening of the belt and those types of things. A lot of times maybe we can find different areas to, trim from and be able to, in the end, keep the quality going that we have. I think that the key is just having everybody involved, everybody putting their voice into it, and being able to come up with a good quality decision on what we need to do.
Okay, thank you. And next we go to Rachel.
I think Tom and Darren really addressed the question really well. What's most critical is finding what's going to have the least impact on the students as well as the faculty, and not knowing every single moving piece of what's there and what could be cut. It'd be hard to pinpoint anything specifically. But as Tom pointed out, that isn't necessarily my job as a school board member. That would be the job of the people tasked with that. And I really can't answer it better than Tom did.
Thank you. And then our Holly, we'll go to you.
Thank you, and I'm going to agree with the others as well, that, the superintendent, the administration, they can review what's best. We can follow up with them and communicate with them on what they feel is best, and again, keeping our focus on what's best for the kids, the faculty, as well as the community and taxpayers as well. However, keeping the quality we have. Lee's always been a quality school with quality sports and academics and faculty, and I think it's important to keep that where we can, and make the best decisions to keep that quality in place.
Okay, thank you. I almost said Mr. Visser. Darren, you're next. I'm used to calling you Mr. Visser from years ago. The question is, please describe the skill set required to manage the 696 budget and what your general thoughts are about education spending.
As far as 696 budget goes, we have a person hired to maintain that budget and keep things going for us. Not only our superintendent, but also people in charge of that as well. As a school board, we have to remember, though, it is my responsibility to be educated in what we're spending our money on, making sure that we're being fiscally responsible in what we're doing. So hopefully days that aren't quite as good as they may be at times, we have a supply there to keep us going, get us through the rough times with very minimal impact. School finance thing is, and running business myself and stuff, it is an aspect of looking at things differently. It's not always the same as running a business. A business, if our costs go up, we increase the price that we put out there of our product. In a school, we don't always get that increase with student funding. Student funding is a big driver of what that budget's going to be. And we got to understand there are some differences between the two and still being able to maintain fiscal responsibility as some times are not as good. We're sitting in a good situation so we can make it through those times as well.
Thank you. And Rachel, the follow-up goes to you first.
I agree with Darren in that leaving the financials up to those who are well versed in handling that sort of thing, and as a school board member being there for the oversight to make sure that things are getting the attention they need, that spending is appropriate. However, there are people that know a lot more about the financials than I do, particularly now as a new person. And I obviously have a lot to learn in that area. And if given the opportunity, I will.
Thank you. Holly, you'd be next.
Thank you, and again, agreeing with Rachel here and Darren as well. I have a lot to learn in this role as well. However, we have the staff in place to keep an eye on things and to, bring recommendations or whatever the case may be. And like Darren said, it's important to be fiscally responsible and keep in mind the quality we currently have and maintain the fiscal responsibility that we currently have. And I look forward to learning more of those pieces as we go.
Thank you, Holly. Tom?
Yep. So I think the biggest thing, in the last 4 years I've seen is we need to make sure we're communicating. We can't assume people know how it's going, how the school finances are going. I think all of certainly the community, but also the various unions, the employees, staff need to know where we're at, what to anticipate. Does action need to be taken? Communication is huge with the budget, along with what everybody else said, so that if action needs to be taken, it's not a surprise.
Thank you, Tom. This next question goes to Rachel. What priority do you place on providing mental health and counseling services to students within the district? And would you recommend increasing the budget to meet their mental health needs?
Given what I've seen in my experience in the classroom, I feel like it would be worthwhile to put more money towards that. It seems as though we are facing some, I wouldn't necessarily say an increase in mental health issues, but more of an awareness of that. And by addressing the students' needs at that level, we're ensuring that they can go forward in a more successful manner. Because if those needs aren't being met, then they're going to struggle to succeed beyond that. It's not something that we can ignore. And particularly in this COVID time with all the added stress and uncertainty and lack of structure and whatnot, I feel that we're going to be seeing even more issues that are going to need to be dealt with.
Thank you, Rachel. And the first follow-up would go to Holly.
Thank you. I agree with Rachel that, our students' mental health is an important piece to their success, an important piece to every part of their day. And it seems like kids are going through a lot right now. I mean, they have generations, of course, but especially now, kids are going through so much, whether it's this COVID thing or scariness on the news that they're seeing or whatever. Kids are going through a lot, and I think it's important to put resources that we have where they're needed to help kids succeed and have their best experience yet, whether it's, just getting through day to day or graduating and being successful from there. Excuse me.
Thank you, Holly. Tom?
Yep, so certainly important. I think this is another great aspect of a small town teachers that care. They recognize the needs of the kids. They're able to spend enough time with them to recognize needs, alert the principal, alert administration, try to channel resources, try to figure out where do we need to appropriate money so that each student is given the best opportunity to succeed. So I think the school, the staff does a great job of wanting the best for the kids.
Thank you, Tom, and to you, Darren.
Mental health is definitely one of those issues that has to be at the forefront of everything. And I think it's extremely important for our school to reach out to all the resources that are available to us, because there are a lot of resources out there that we can tap into as a district, but also analyzing where we're at as an individual school and seeing, are we meeting the needs of our students? And just like education and all the other activities that go about, the key is meeting the needs of our students. And if our student needs are needing more mental health issues, then we need to provide more staff to be able to help with that.
Our next question goes to Holly. How would you further meet the educational needs of children who are learning disabled or gifted and talented?
Thanks, Kay. I think it's important to, we've said this a few times, but to be in full communication, not only with the staff, but also with the parents. I think the school board has a unique opportunity to be a link between the community and the school, and to work with parents and teachers on what the kids need. Again, they're the ones that are with their children every day, and we're lucky to be in a role that can help with that. However, if the parents have concerns or ideas, I think it's important for the school board to listen to their information, to listen to their needs, and see what we can do to help those children get the needs, get the success they need, and to work with the school, the administration, the staff, provide the communication, and kind of bounce ideas back and forth or whatever might be needed to help those children succeed with their learning disabilities or gifted and talented, whatever their needs might be.
Thank you. And our first follow-up goes to Tom.
Pretty similar to the last question with the mental health counseling. Whether the spectrum of kids from learning disabled up to the gifted and talented, to again teachers recognizing the needs of each of the individual kids and putting the proper resources into it so that they can excel as best as possible. I think again that's very well done with the teachers and administration at the school.
Thank you. And Darren?
Yes, again, I think it's the spectrum. You're talking about from one end all the way to the other, and it's important that we're meeting the needs of all of our students and keep looking at, and from a school standpoint, providing service on all aspects to make sure all of our students are having an opportunity to excel to their top level.
Thank you. And Rachel?
They're
In addition to what everybody else has already covered, I feel that additional programming opportunities in order for students on either end to get the specialized kind of opportunities that they need, along with faculty training to help those students succeed and find new opportunities for creating other situations for success, whether they're falling behind or maybe need to be challenged more.
Thank you.
Okay, Tom, the next question goes to you. What should the school board do to attract and retain quality teachers and administrators?
Well, I think part of it is being done right now. Really excited about the project that's going to be starting here with the facilities project. We need to show incoming prospective families coming in, teachers that might want to move here, and then, like you said, Jeff, principals and superintendents, if need be, that we care about our education here in this town. And this is what we're doing right now is a large step, along with what I think, being on the board the last 4 years, is what I see a lot of the school board meetings. The principals have their reports where they're talking about what's going on, K through 5, what's going on 6 through 12, to challenge the kids, to further the kids, to give them more opportunities. So a combination of the facilities showing people that come here for interviews that we, this town, this community realizes the importance of the education of our kids, and to give them a really good chance of succeeding once they leave Ely or hopefully stay in Ely.
Thank you, Tom. And the first follow-up will go to Darren.
I think community involvement is a huge key, and as we saw with the past referendum, how our community values education here in Ely shows people outside that when they come here, they're going to be supported, they're going to have great support from community, and then maintaining a quality balance between administration, teaching, and providing the packages and those types of things that attract people to stay and come. So community involvement, maintaining a quality level of and benefits for those, and showing that we have quality education here as a whole.
Thank you, Darren. And the next follow-up would go to Rachel.
I agree with Tom and Darren that when the bond passed, it sent a message loud and clear that how much our community values our school and our students, and shows that we're committed to improving and moving forward. And that's a message that teachers and prospective new community members are looking for.
Thank you, Rachel. And Holly, you have the final follow-up on this question.
Thank you. And again, I'm kind of echoing the others, but the referendum passing by a 65% margin was so wonderful for our school. And again, it really shows the community support behind our school. And I think that's an important piece when attracting new people, whether it's at school staff or just to the community. I think that shows how much the community cares about our students and about our school, and how they will continue to do so even through rougher times.
Thank you. And our next question goes to Darren. What specific concerns do you have about curriculum offerings in Ely Public Schools?
My main concerns come down to making sure we keep giving students more options out there, whether that's collaborating with other schools around, some online classes, different things that we can use to, that in our small school setting, provide what a lot of people see as big school opportunities in the education world. I think in today's society, and as we're seeing, given with COVID and all the distance learning and different opportunities that we're not, maybe one of the benefits that'll come out of this is it opens up another world to us as far as what we see we can do with technology and those types of pieces in order to provide our students with a lot more opportunities that they can gain and go from there. So what we're offering as a school, a quality offerings, but it's always a key. Maybe one of the benefits that'll come out of this is it opens up another world to us as far as what we keep offering more and diverse offering. We have a lot of different students with a lot of different interests with, and then go from anywhere from sciences to math to industrial tech, those types of things that are range of things like that we're built on, and we're seeing a lot of people in our school and stuff going off to the 2-year programs and doing well on them and really thriving. So I think the key is just keeping our eyes open and seeing what we, in order to provide and do, in order to provide and utilize what the other schools and the community abroad.
Thank you. And our first follow-up goes to Rachel.
I agree with Darren in that we have to look to what other communities are doing and try to provide the same or hopefully better opportunities for our students. Right now with the soaring cost of college, college in the classroom courses are critical to have available to our high school students, as well as job training classes where our students can graduate with an actual marketable skill when they get out of high school. I will say that I'm impressed with the ARC reading program on the elementary level, with literacy being critical to success throughout the rest of a child's career as a student. And so continued focus on that is important as well.
Thank you. And Holly.
Thank you. And again, that's one thing, excuse me, COVID has taught us, if there is a silver lining, is that more can be done from home or through distance learning or through technology. And while I can't think of any specific concerns, I feel like my children have a wide variety of classes offered to them, especially for the size of the school. I think it is important to continue to look into other opportunities and ways we can do that for our kids. And, maybe technology is the best way to do it, or like Darren said, collaborating with other schools, finding ways to bring more programs to our kids.
Thank you. Tom?
And we've got resources too we can tap too. We don't have to create the wheel ourselves here to do what everybody's been talking about, is trying to offer as wide range of opportunities as possible. As school board members, we have the opportunity to get together with all the school boards around the state and see what other schools are doing and bring ideas back to administration. So some of the stuff takes root, some doesn't, relative to our needs in this area. So broader the better.
Our next question goes to Rachel. Studies indicate the skills most lacking in young people entering the workforce are communication, critical thinking, and problem solving. What can the school board do to ensure Ely students are ready for the challenges they will meet as they strive for success?
Well, as a school board member, again, it's my understanding that we're more in place to set policy and to listen to the information provided to us from our superintendent, our principals, and so on. I trust that our staff who's on the front lines working with our students are working on addressing those issues, because I know those are real issues, and I saw it with my own students. As a school board member, it's my job to support the faculty and the administration, but I don't think it's my place to tell them exactly how to do that.
Thank you. Our first follow-up goes to Holly.
Thank you, and I think this is a good place, again, to bring up communication and the importance of communication between the faculty, the other staff, and the school board, and to be able to look at other resources we can give, the teachers, what do they need to help our students gain these life skills that they'll need. The teachers are the ones working with them every day. They have the best idea of what they need, and we can look at finding more resources or helping allocate those resources as the students and teachers need them.
Thank you. And Tom?
Yeah, vitally important to be able for kids to, or teachers to recognize that kids going out into the world need to be able to communicate effectively, whether they're a welder or a teacher or a business owner, being able to make decisions with stress involved, important decisions, solving problems every day. We're all solving problems every day. So I think the teachers do a good job right now of integrating that into whatever course they're teaching.
Thank you. And Darren?
Again, like the others have said, communication is a huge key to this. As far as we have people in place to emphasize that, but as a school board, we also need to hear from our leaders in the school as how those things are going. And if they're not going well, what kinds of solutions can be out there for them, whether it's more training or things like that. And as a school board, being able to help offer those opportunities so we don't fall behind.
Thank you. And Holly, this question would be directed towards you. With a focus on STEM subjects, there is a fear that time and offerings are being reduced in humanities and in the arts. What is your commitment to parents and taxpayers who have those concerns?
Well, I think it's important, again, to be kind of a link between the community and the school, and listen to those concerns and pass them on to the school where they see appropriate. I enjoy attending our band concerts and our choir concerts, so I don't see that as my other, art shows and such as well, but, so I don't see that as a current concern now. However, I think it's important to be that link between the community members, between the taxpayers, and listen to their concerns and then bring it back to the school administration, ask what resources they may need or what we could do to help produce the best well-rounded education, especially focused on the kids' wants, needs, and talents as well.
Thank you, Holly. Tom, you're up next.
The teachers and kids are very good at communicating when there's a deficiency in something, whether it be STEM, Jeff, or the humanities and arts. I think they're all in tune. They all communicate with each other at the school as far as being able to offer a broad range so that everybody, if they want to, can experience the technology side of things or the art side of things. So it's a pretty constant topic of conversation from meeting to meeting.
Thank you, Tom. Darren?
Again, kind of what Tom's going with there, I know there's a lot of emphasis put on these. And one benefit of a small school is that all of our kids get the opportunity to try and experiment with different opportunities there, and hopefully see the light. Maybe find their talents that they're hidden to them even. So I think it's key to keep these opportunities and provide them to them and stay with a broad offering for our whole school.
Thank you. And finally, Rachel.
I agree with Darren in that it's important for our students to be able to try and experience a lot of things, and like Darren said, maybe find something that they had no idea that they were good at. STEM emphasis is important, but without the
the humanities emphasis in there as well to help with those critical thinking skills. It's all intertwined, and to take one over the other is really short-sighted, and so I believe that our students should be getting a little bit of everything.
Thank you, Rachel. And our next question goes to Tom. There are always some students who have difficulty learning in the traditional school environment. Do you have any thoughts about how to ensure the needs of all students are met?
And I can't speak to teacher training, what it's evolved to in colleges now, but I would hope that's part of the deal where teachers are not only learning about their subject, but they're learning about teaching techniques and recognizing students that are excelling, recognizing students that are having trouble, and then trying to figure out ways to help the situation. And if they don't, if they need help, they've got other teachers in the school. They've got resources galore in with the computer, with the internet, and then they've got the principals and superintendent that have a lot of experience. So it's all who you hire. We need the quality teachers. I believe we have a lot of quality teachers. We have had them. We do have them, and that's the key to recognizing and helping kids to be the best they can be confident going out in the world, trying to identify, give them some direction so that they at least have an idea of maybe what they want to shoot for beyond graduation.
Thank you, Tom. And our first follow-up goes to Aaron.
Yeah, our school, I believe the school control program, they've already worked on some different programs to address this issue, but I would also like to see us have a very talented and diverse community, and I think there's some things out there that we can do to reach out and utilize the community even better with all the different talents and diversity we have right here in the small town of Ely.
Thank you. Rachel?
I think right now in our current situation, we're actually getting a unique opportunity to try out different ways of teaching our students because we don't really have much of another choice. And I've spoken with colleagues who are former colleagues who have shared with me that they're finding that some of the new ways we're teaching in the face of COVID are actually proving more successful for students who weren't thriving in the traditional classroom. And I think after this is all over, if we take what we've learned and use it, it'll benefit everyone.
Thank you. And Holly?
Thank you. And again, kind of agreeing with a lot of what's been said, but we put a lot of that emphasis on our teachers, and we do hire quality teachers, and hopefully they're learning their different methods and can present those to the students what works best, and it's hard to find a one-size-fits-all answer. However, I think, the teachers just doing their best and working with the kids on a daily basis, they'll find the right groove and find what works best for them, make sure everyone is successful.
Thank you, Holly. Darren, this question is directed towards you to begin with. With many students having lost out on academic development in the spring when schools were closed, what ideas do you have to help those students catch up and thrive in the future?
We're going to have to rely on the professionals that we've hired to do that. But as a school board, our job of providing the opportunities also to the teachers and the staff. So if there are deficiencies that have developed in this, which we will have to see after different things are assessed, testing and just teacher assessment, things like that, we're going to have to provide opportunities for staff so they can find different opportunities to help these students out, whether they're different programs Like within the elementary program, you have math and reading specialists that work with people at times, working to catch individuals up. Because some students are going to thrive no matter what the situation is, and others, due to certain situations, are going to struggle. And we have to be able to recognize those struggles early and quickly and be able to address them with the staff that we have. And as a school board, it's more of an avenue of they need to communicate with us what the needs are, and we need to help make sure that the teachers and staff get the opportunities and whatever they need to be able to close these gaps.
Thank you, Darren. And Rachel, you'll get the first follow-up.
I couldn't agree with Darren more in the fact that the teachers are facing a situation in which their students are undergoing something that has never happened in our, history, or recent history, I should say. So the time, the training, and the support that the teachers need in order to address issues that right now we possibly can't even predict what is going to come up. But giving the teachers the time, training, and support that they need to handle whatever does come up is going to be critical.
And now to Holly, please.
Thank you. And, I'll agree that our teachers will catch where the kids are lacking or if they have any catch up. And I think it's important then to provide the resources the teachers need to help the students catch up and continue to grow with what they're currently learning and how they're currently learning. Just to be able to be a support and a resource for the teachers and to give them what they need to hopefully mitigate any further falling behind or anything else that may stop students from thriving.
Thank you. And now to you, Tom.
Jeff, I think certainly the spring and to a large degree right now is giving the teachers a lot of experience and how you can adapt and carry this forward post-COVID. But I think to put all of the weight on the teachers in a situation like last spring is I think next to impossible. The communication and the help and the assistance of the parents in the furthering of their kids' education is important in a situation like that. So that needs to be a part of it going forward too, no matter what cycle we're in.
Thank you, Tom. So we've come to a place in our program here tonight that we're going to change the format just a little bit. We've got a few extra questions that we're going to allow each candidate a minute and a half to respond. And I'd like to go in the following order just to keep it of order a little bit. We'll start off with Tom. Here's the question. What do you see as priorities for a district long-range strategic plan?
Well, there is a long-range strategic plan, and the big thing with that is the board chair, the school board, principals and administration to make sure they're referencing back to that. It's easy to develop a long-term strategic plan and put it in place, which was done a couple of years ago, but then to make sure it's followed through and that we're carrying forward with a lot of the things we're talking about right now with recognizing specific kids, specific student needs, so monitoring that and looking to see when does it need to be refreshed, when does it need to be updated again, when does the committee need to come together again and extend it out based on where the school's at with its education system. So certainly the priorities have been the facilities in the last couple of years, and it's resulted in what we see with a very successful referendum. The focus has always been on educating the kids and giving them a well-rounded education. So I hope that can continue to be looked at and tweaked to adjust as need be.
Thank you, Tom. Darren, you're up next. Would you care for me to repeat the question?
Would you please repeat?
Sure. What do you see as priorities for the district long-range strategic plan?
Again, I'm saying it's important to have a strategic plan, but there also has to be within that strategic plan some flexibility. You never know what's going to come up. And COVID is a prime example, and those are important things. And situations can arise where you have to change and you have to adapt stuff. And that's about what education is adapting and following through and going forward best at the time. But the plan is also for, like Tom said, to keep a focus. It's obvious that you go forward, you move on. One other key components other than the school board and administration is making sure we're talking to all the staff, teachers, the custodians, the cooks, everybody that's involved in understanding whether that's from facilities to curriculum to those different types of pieces, wanting to involve our community within that strategic plan so then our community understands what the vision is moving forward as well. So like in this case where we had the referendum that we needed to pass here and we did it overwhelmingly, it's important to keep them in the loop, not make them feel like they don't understand what's going on, and keep everything moving in a positive direction forward from all aspects.
Thank you, Darren. And Rachel, would you care for me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Okay. What do you see as priorities for a district long-range strategic plan?
Well, Tom mentioned that there's already a strategic plan in place as evidenced by being able to pass a bond and having issues in mind. And I want to, I agree with Darren in that communication is critical and involving everyone who works at the school in what needs to happen to go forward. As far as anything very specific, I'm still new to knowing what we're doing here in Ely, and I'm looking forward to learning more about it. So I can't say right down to line by line, but I know that we've passed the bond. We, as a community, do support doing big things here in Ely to improve the education for our students.
Thank you, Rachel. Holly, you're next. Would you care for me to repeat the question?
No, I think I'm okay.
Okay.
Just last in line, I think I got it. Some of the priorities we need to remember, especially with the referendum passing and the large facilities project we're working on, is to remain fiscally responsible as we go forward, as well as maintaining our communication with our staff and the community, the administration, making sure everybody knows what's where, and and again, being new to this potential role, I have a lot to learn as well. However, I think maintaining focus, maintaining fiscal responsibility, staying on budget, staying on time, and just making sure the needs of the staff and the students are met, as well as concerns as community members and taxpayers, to make sure we are being responsible in our roles and in the updates and other things that are going on with the school, to make sure we are communicating well and being responsible. I keep saying those words, but I'm trying to just make sure we communicate our what's going on and everybody's aware, and just maintaining our focus on what those priorities are.
Thank you, Holly. And this will be our final question before our closing statements from all the candidates. And Darren's going to be the first candidate for this question. Do you have any thoughts or suggestions about policies that would allow parents to opt their students out of lessons that might be controversial, such as climate change science, political discussion, sex education, and racial justice?
All those things have already been presented to parents as they have the opportunity to opt out if they do not feel they want their child involved in it. A lot of times it is signing a note to the school, just saying that I do not want my student to participate in that, and they have that opportunity. In this time of what we're seeing as a nation right now, and a lot of different issues being brought to a forefront, I do think it is important for us as a community to keep in learning diversity, and that means in a lot of different ways. And in those avenues of things, still allowing parents to have that opportunity and that choice within that. Some parents truly believe some of those issues are issues that need to be taught at home, and I respect that. And there are some issues that myself, I would, with my own children, I would prefer to be the one teaching them. And we have to give parents that opportunity to be able to say that, this is one of those issues that I'm going to take responsibility for, and I would like to help my child out of that particular issue or discussion or those types of topics that go there. So I do think it's important for us to keep our options open and allow parents those opportunities.
Thank you, Darren. And Rachel, you'll be up next. Would you care for me to repeat the question?
I think I got it. Basically, everything that Darren said is I agree with also. While I feel that a lot of these things are valuable topics for students to be learning, at the same time, as a parent, I respect a parent's choice to decide what their children need. And sometimes that isn't going to be exactly what's being offered in the school. I'm glad to hear that there are opportunities for parents to opt their children out if they feel that that is what is necessary for their family, for their beliefs, for their personal feelings, and we're respecting that. The fact that parents are involved enough to want to have a say-so over their children, what their children are being exposed to and experiencing is encouraging. That's, the parents are the very first education our children are getting. So we have to trust that if they feel something's right for their family, we have to respect that and support that and offer ways to support that.
Thank you, Rachel. And to you, Holly, would you care to hear the question again?
Yes, please, would you?
Sure. Do you have any thoughts or suggestions about policies that would allow parents to opt their students out of lessons that might be controversial, such as climate change, science, political discussions, sex education, and racial justice?
Thank you. And, like the others have stated, being part of a family, of course, is your first education. Parents are number one teachers, and being part of the family. And I think it's important that the school continue to communicate to the families what is being taught, whether it be in a syllabus or a note home, or the parents following up with the online portal and the lesson plans that are posted, or just talking with their child about what's going on in the school. And I think it is important that parents have that opportunity to opt their child out of a specific lesson or a specific topic. And I would be in favor of a policy that would, help children either find another topic to study during that time, or to, just work with that specific topic with their family at home. And I would be in favor of that, again, because families are the first teachers, they're the first educators. And while we do have a lot of, we get a lot of credit from our teachers and everything, I think it is important to respect a family's wishes and family's opinions, especially with such hot topics.
Thank you, Holly. And Tom, would you care to have the question repeated?
No, thanks, Jeff. Thank you.
Okay.
I think the school does a good job. I don't know if any policy needs to be changed or adjusted or put in. It it seems to be going well. Otherwise, I think the administrators, Mr. Townsend, would be hearing about that. So I think a good job is being done to make sure, like Holly said, via the portal, parents can monitor what's going on. Lessons, classes are, and what the students are taking are out there for parents to know what's going on. And of course, you want the parents to have a say in what they do or do not want their student exposed to. So I think again, the administration and the teachers do a great job of trying to offer a broad range of classes. Some sensitive, some not so sensitive, and the parents have a say, and they can opt out and find some other options, whether it be in class or online. So Ely's doing well with this.
Thank you, Tom. And for the final portion of tonight's forum, I'm going to turn it over to Linda.
Thank you all for your really thoughtful answers. We appreciate it. And now each of you will have 2 minutes to make a closing statement. And I guess we will start once again going alphabetically with Rachel.
First of all, I'd like to thank AAUW and the Rotary for providing this opportunity for us to get together virtually and to talk and share our time and our thoughts and to educate everyone on the issues and get to know us a little bit better. I'm really excited about the possibility of having the opportunity to serve within the school district. I value education. I come from a long line of educators, and I feel that always learning constantly is really critical to being a useful member of the community. I have a lot to learn if I am afforded the opportunity to join the school board. I'm looking forward to working hard to do that. To be part of what helps shape our school with my daughters in both the elementary and the high school as we go forward and hopefully come out the other side of COVID is really important to me, and I hope that I'm given the opportunity to play a part in that.
Thank you, Rachel. Couldn't find my mute. Thanks a lot. And Holly, final statements.
Thank you, and I also want to thank the AAUW and the Rotary for putting this on, and thank you to our moderators and all the others behind the scenes to make this happen. You know, it's such a weird time right now that we can't get together and be on a stage and have an audience. So I know there was a lot of work put into getting this together. So thank you. It's important for the community members to be able to hear our responses and see how we respond to each question. You know, I'm committed to our school. I'm committed to our district. I'm committed to the success of our community and our school and our students. And I feel like with my life experience and with my unique perspective of being an Ely graduate and having kids in the district in both different buildings and different levels and different ages, you know, I feel like I'm a good fit for this role, and I appreciate the time to share my thoughts on some topics, and I look forward to the next steps and what lies ahead.
Thanks, Holly. And Tom Mirza.
Yes, thanks guys across the board here for putting the time and effort into this forum. There's lots of people here that care about the community over the years with lots of different endeavors, and proud to be a part of helping the Ely community with what I can contribute. I would like to do another 4 years on the school board. I enjoy the staff with the principals and administration. I enjoy working with them. I see the sincerity and how concerned they are about the kids. I've gotten to know a lot of teachers, past and present, and their concern for the kids. The whole staff, whether they're involved with the kids or not at the school, is terrific. And I'm trying to do my part. I'm sending my kids through the school system and trying to do my part to give back. I think that's a major thing that we that take advantage of such a good community should also give back. So I look forward to hopefully another 4 years. There certainly have been good times and stressful times, but I think it's all good growth, and looking forward to the build here with the referendum passing, and the more opportunities we're going to be able to allow the students as it comes to completion and use. So again, appreciate everybody's time and efforts with this.
Thanks, Tom. And finally, Darren Visser.
I think I would like to thank everyone as well. And really put a huge thanks out to Tom, Holly, and Rachel. This is a position that at times we don't always even have a choice when it comes to school board elections. And we know it's a tough challenge, and we know it's a daunting task at times, and you're not always going to be in the positive avenue of things, and you got to make tough decisions. And those are things that I'm willing to do, willing to be educated on the things that I don't know, bring into what I do know and the experiences I've had. Ely is the place that gave me my start to post-college life. And it has given me nothing but a lot of great memories, a great time, and the opportunity to live here for 23 years. And at this point, I really like the opportunity to continue back to something that gave so much to me. I understand the value of a small school and a small, I like the opportunity to continue to get back to something that gave so community. And it's one of those things that is at my heart, and I'll continue to work hard to make sure that Ely stays independent, keeps a quality education going, staying responsible, and make sure that this school is running well, is and doing well for many years to come. So I just appreciate this opportunity to even be up here. And if I'm so lucky to be elected on, I will work very hard to be educated on the issues and do what I can to help maintain that quality.
Thanks, Darren. Actually, thanks to all of you for being here. Excuse me. And this will conclude tonight's forum. On behalf of AAUW and Rotary, thank you so much for listening tonight, those of you who are listening, and you candidates for participating under such less than perfect conditions, including that. Traffic, strange noises, but thanks a lot. I think it worked out okay. The event is also going to be able to be viewed later on YouTube. It'll be set up so you can search under the Ely School Board Candidate Forum, and we'll all be able to watch it again, or some people for the first time. So we hope the evening has been informative for you. I need to give a particular shout out and thank you to Kurt and Susan Lang for letting us in this command post sit here in this huge, so wonderful building that is allows us to be socially distant, gives us lighting. It's that makes us even look better. It's just a great studio. It feels like we're on TV. So I need to thank them, and also a particular thank you to Todd Kriegel. We can see that his tea there, but he has been so amazingly helpful in getting this set up, making this happen, and putting up with me for the last 2 weeks with all my phone calls. So just thanks to everyone for watching, and don't forget, early voting has started. You can get your absentee ballot. I know we're all into this, but let's make sure that we all vote early, vote safely, make a plan, If you need any information, the Minnesota Secretary of State website has all that information. So good night to everyone. Thank you and have a great evening.